Now this is section 8 of me sharing my music collection. Now I started out with sharing my tapes for the first video, and I had to do a video for every single row of these. It took so long to get through, so I'm going to go through these videos next, starting with, and these are about to fall right off the table, Cabaret Voltaire. That is a nice video to have. Again, these were one of my favorites, and I remember them since before we left Michigan, as long as I can remember. Chrome, I got to see these guys live. I did not see Cab Voltaire. Now, of course, I've seen these guys live as many times as I can, so I've actually made the acquaintance of the woman who made the video. So thank you very much, Anastasia. My dad bought me this video, and it was nice having her in my contacts and all the good conversations we've had. So you betcha. So you never know. It's a small world. This is a nice Front 242 video. I have a spare copy of this. Let me know if you need it, and I'll see if I can get it to you. See that? There's the spare copy. Hawkwind. Something I learned from my dad. I remember these guys for a long time. This is Space Rock. So, Joy Division. So I did a series of 3 videos called Joy Division, and then something like Living as an Artist, or the rest of my music, that type of thing, because Joy Division have been such a big inspiration to me. A big inspiration. But yeah, part of the Joy Division is I really do care about music, and maybe eventually I'll get in the music business. And if so, I'm going to say I was really inspired by Joy Division, for that matter. King Crimson, I remember these guys ever since I was a kid. This is more like progressive rock, I don't know, art rock. Very intelligent, but psychedelic, more guitar-oriented. KMFDM. If anything, I think these guys are activists in the form of a band. These guys are great. I think they came from Germany to live in the United States, because they really fit in more here in the United States. This is where they should have been. People like it here. So Kraftwerk, gotta have this in my collection. Let me make some room for this Kraftwerk there. My favorite band, as long as I can remember hearing music. So, like, as you might imagine, most of my favorite music to listen to now is electronic. There's a lot of psychedelic trance, so them's my roots, peoples. Them's my roots. Oh my goodness, I found another. Okay, it's a compilation. I have to watch this. I have stuff I haven't watched yet, thanks to my dad. I would have to thank him for most of the stuff I have here, and for knowing about most of the stuff I have here. Ministry. My Life with a Thrill Kill Cult. Yeah, and these people are all still touring. These guys are getting more like into their 60s. Maybe they're not as, I don't know, maybe born in the 50s. Maybe some of these people born in the 60s. These are like our elders who helped start all this great underground industrial electronic music, all getting up there in age. They're all getting ready to retire. So there's going to be a major takeover by the new generation. And if we don't have a head, you got to have the right head to understand this music. So how can we keep good underground music alive, right? So there's some New Order. Gotta wonder, how are we going to keep the spirit? So we've been in a cultural revolution, and the rock and roll music has always been at the heart of that revolution. So a lot of this music I listen to is kind of like part of that family, you know. 9 Inch Nails, it's like he's like the spawn of rock and roll music. He's done his own thing, taken on a modern approach to music, and so thanks to my dad, I've got quite a great deal of 9 Inch Nails to share. Tangerine Dream, again, thanks to my dad for discovering this. So he was really good for getting out there and discovering some of the greatest music. I don't know if we could find so there are people who have bigger collections, but to find one with the amount of quality concentrated there, it's like the Sweet Honey. I forgot to mention the Black Box. The Black Box was a Wax Trax collection put out, man, was that the 90s? But it's so much fun. You get 3 records, you get drink holders, what do you call it, coasters, this cool little book. Love the magical picture on the front. Oh my goodness, this is so embarrassing, me trying to get it out of there. But the fun part I really wanted to dig in for was the tape. This is tape right off of the studio floor. Can you believe that? You betcha. So I have a little bit of music history right here in this box, right up to and including the proper drink coasters for your coffee table. Well, I saved those So I don't know. It's getting kind of discolored, but we could polish that up and that make a great antique. So anyways, that's everything I have. And thing is I really think I would have more music, of course, if I always had a good income and all that. I'd probably have tons and tons of music. It'd look like a record store in here. So I've taken losses a couple of times. So this kind of shows you some of the stuff that I kept. So like my tape collection, I started around maybe 86 when I was about 10 going on 11, and maybe like the early 90s is when I started getting CDs, and then I collected a lot, so I was buying a lot, my dad was buying me a lot, and then I moved to Montana in like 2009, so I really haven't bought very many CDs since I've moved up here, and I've been relying a lot on the internet to connect me with my friends and to keep me up to date on music, but if I get the income and I get active, I would love to be making music, DJing, and again, I'd be collecting music. I'm really disappointed to find a lot of these CDs are kind of beat up because I've been playing them in my CD player, my CD Walkman. So I got a lot of CDs to fix, but I'd really love to be able to go back through all these CDs and see what I've got here. I've really got a lot of good stuff in here, and put together DJ sets and just do things to share out about this music so it doesn't get lost and forgotten. There was really a lot of great music from since the synthesizer was invented, so a lot of stuff I have here is mostly electronic, through the 70s, 80s, and 90s. As we're moving forward, we just sort of forget the past, unless it's like the classics, like we hear the same 70s, like the same 20 songs that were written in the 70s over and over on the radio. When there was all this stuff, like in the 80s and so on, people have no idea. They're all like, it's about Michael Jackson and Madonna. No, during the 80s, there's a lot of stuff in this collection that's from the 80s that was nothing like that. In fact, way even more ahead of its time, So there's a lot of great music that constitutes as underground music that just has never got heard, and it's great music. That's what blows my mind, and people don't know what it is. So I really hope I can keep the CD collection and share it and make more videos in the future. And so maybe I'll look up some of this music and we'll go through some of it, and I'm going to share some thoughts in the future. So that's what I have in mind. I got to put all this stuff away for right now, and then when I unpack, hopefully it'll be my music studio and I could start to put together projects and actually get a lot of these dreams to come true, and I can make the Jody vision a real thing. So I'm sharing the vision in order to hold the vision. So they say thoughts and prayers don't matter. Well, actually it does. You start thinking stuff, you start setting the energy in motion before you start moving your hand. If there's something you wish, you love music, I really wish there was somebody out there who loved music that would help keep making good music. We hope all the great artists don't all die and there's nothing but cheap crap left over. So hopefully there's enough people out here who really love this kind of music that are learning to be music producers. It's really hard to figure out what got us started. It seems like we've kind of gotten lost in the art and kind of gotten lost in the fashion behind it. But when you go right back to the heart, we were in a cultural revolution. On one hand, you had the intellectual counterculture, which we would say were the Beat Generation, and then the hippies. I think they were more like the spiritual counterculture, but all at the same time. All this is kind of coming together, and it needs to kind of be revived a little bit, because as you see, people have been getting kind of dumbed down a little bit, and we're kind of losing sight of kind of what the cultural revolution was. But music's kind of like the drum beat of the music's fun, it's enjoyable, but really when we look at the revolutionary community, they listen to rock and roll music. We listen to hard, heavy music. You need to have a fighting spirit. You don't want to be, you don't want to be part of slave think, that type of thing. You want to be part of a free thinking world. So anyways, thought it'd be fun to share about my collection a little bit, what I think my music's about. I like psychedelic electronic music. I think that we're part of a cultural revolution, and we're definitely part of rock and roll in some way. So yeah, we're all part of so it kind of ties us in with a kind of a tribe, So if you're somebody that really loves, for example, electronic music like this, you're into industrial music, we're kind of part of a tribe there. We're part of a prayer circle for that reason. Same with the trance family, I think they're the industrial music scene is more to the Beat Generation side, more to the intellectual counterculture side. And with the trance techno scene, I feel like they're kind of like the modern age hippies. So we're more to the spiritual counterculture, but I like to to kind of have one foot in both and kind of do both at the same time. I really think we need to connect the head and the heart, and that's what music's about. Is it can be very intellectual, but music's very much a spiritual expression. So we should bring together the intellectual and the spiritual revolution as one thing, you know. So it's all about you know, music takes us on to expanded consciousness, and the more expanded our consciousness is, you know, of course, we're enjoying our time here on Earth, but at the same time, the more expanded our consciousness is, the better our ability to discern truth, and truth is what sets you free. So we're also on a spiritual path of mastery and a path for freedom of the soul. So you guys have a great day. I really hope you enjoyed my series of 8 videos. So talk to you soon. And you guys, thank you so much if you pay attention to all 8 of them.